I am thrilled to be with Member of Parliament Ted Falk, who is from Provencher and lives just outside of Steinbach, Manitoba. Ted, it's wonderful to be with you here in the Wellington building in the Parliament Precinct.
Beautiful building. It's a beautiful building. Thanks, Mark. It's good to be here with you this morning and to just talk about some of the work that we do here in Parliament, things that are important to us, to yourself, and to me in my riding. And for folks that don't know where Provencher is, that's southeast Manitoba.
So, Ted, I was elected in 2004. What year were you elected?
I got elected in a by-election in November of 2013, so I've been here just over 4.5 years.
And I remember that, and I was thrilled when you were elected, and you've been such an important and respected part of our team. I served with you on the Justice Committee and on the Legislative Committee when we were dealing with the Carter decision from the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that was kind of my introduction into Parliament. Almost one of the first pieces of legislation that we dealt with in this new session was the physician-assisted suicide legislation that was passed eventually by Parliament and the Senate and has now become law in Canada. And I remember how strongly you advocated to the committee that we needed to put more safeguards in there to provide more protection for people that were vulnerable, that could be coerced into something that is obviously terminal and irreversible. And you put forward over 100 amendments on that piece of legislation, and none of which were accepted by the Liberal government.
Well, we tried, and we continue to work on that to make sure that life is protected, because life is precious, it's sacred, it's God-given.
It absolutely is, and that's something that I've tried to represent here in Parliament, is that I believe life begins at conception. I think we need to recognize that. I think our Supreme Court of Canada in 1988, when they gave direction in their decisions which struck down the existing abortion laws, I think they were very clear that parliamentarians had a duty to provide protection for the preborn child. And that's something that Parliament has failed to do in the last 30 years, and I'm hoping that's something that maybe you and I can both be a part of someday here in Parliament.
Ted, I agree. I think it's important. It's our responsibility to deal with these issues, even the tough issues. So Ted, what did you do before you were a member of Parliament?
Well, I was the president and board chair of a Steinbach credit union, which is a $4.5 billion credit union. Did that for 17 years, served on the board there for 24. And during that whole time, we've owned a heavy construction and aggregate company where we have been part owners for the last 30 years. I'm the president and CEO of that company. So once my time in Parliament is complete here, I expect I'll be going back into the construction business. And it's not a huge company, but we have about 100 employees there that we provide an opportunity for them to provide a living for their families.
And so you are now in Parliament and a very well-respected member of this Parliament. What are you working on here in Ottawa?
I am currently the Deputy Shadow Minister for Employment, Workforce Development and Labour, and as such I look in, together with my colleague, the Honourable Stephen Blaney, we work on those types of issues. One of the things that I've been very passionate about is the attestation that was recently introduced by the Liberal government on the Canada Summer Jobs Program. That fell into the wheelhouse of my portfolio as a shadow minister there. And so that was something I've been passionate about. I've been very vocal on that. I've been working with the Liberal minister, Patty Hajdu, on that to try and get her to reverse her decision to stick with this very discriminatory attestation, which I think we're going to see some retraction of.
Well, I certainly hope so, because she's basically, the Liberal government has taken away, attacked the charter rights of Canadians.
Absolutely, it's a clear and blatant violation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, something that the Liberal government claims to be the champion of, and so I just don't understand, and I fail to understand how they can say that on the one hand, and on the other hand have this ideology that they insist people must subscribe to in order to access government funding. We know the Prime Minister has also said he wants to make sure that, or he would like to implement that type of thing into other government funding as well, and that would just be very, very irresponsible of a Prime Minister to do that, to be selective to recipients of government funding, grants, pensions, EI benefits, whatever it may be, unless they agree with his particular ideology.
So when the Prime Minister says he wants diversity, the diversity is a diversity that agrees with him.
It's really not diversity. I think he's confused again on that issue. What he's after is division, and he seems to be quite successful at creating that.
So Ted Falk, thank you for the good work you're doing here in Ottawa, representing your community very well, and keep up the good work.
Good. Thanks. It's been good talking with you, Mark.